are talking with the New York Times best-selling author of a book called The Christmas Jars books, as well as the Wednesday Letters.
In fact, my dad read the Christmas Jar and passed it on to me and many friends. He now does his own Christmas jar. He's taken it to heart. And now author Jason Wright has another bestseller called The 17-Second Miracle. Like the Christmas Jars, it also encourages a spirit of giving and gratitude. And we're thrilled to have Jason with us this morning. Good to see you.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Welcome.
Well,
so the Christmas Jars, you want to start with that?
Yeah, so many people know that one, first of all, because that was such a big hit. How did you come up with the story? Because it's not actually a true story, right?
Correct, but hello to your dad, by the way. Very cool.
Thank
I love that he
you.
read the book and did more than just put it back on the shelf, but that he decided to actually start a Christmas jar. Very simple concept. You put your loose change in a jar all year long, and then on Christmas Eve, maybe a day or two before, you pick someone to give the jar away to anonymously, and you'd be surprised at how $50 or $60 or $100 can bless the Wright family during the Christmas season.
And see, there's a long history of that happening in my family, going back to my great-grandmother who did it for her children, but we did it for the kids in the family, the grandkids. You're talking about complete strangers.
Yeah, you give it to someone in a parking
random
lot.
act of kindness.
Exactly, or someone from church or school or the neighborhood who's going through a tough time. I mean, I've heard from people all around the world who've been blessed by a Christmas jar, both giving the jar and how it changes their perspective on the season, and those who've received them.
So how did you come up with the 17-Second Miracle?
So kind of a similar idea. The 17-Second Miracle is based on the concept that donating a few seconds every day instead of a few cents, right, can really have long-lasting impact. The 17-Second Miracle is something like opening a door for someone as you walk into a building, or befriending the new kid at school, or loaning a few dollars to someone, giving a hug to somebody who's having a rough day. It's just a few seconds, a small and quick act that, as I said, sometimes can last a long, long time in the mind of the receiver.
Why 17 seconds? Why not 7 or 37 or 17 minutes?
Great question. So it's based on the book, The 17-Second Miracle. At the very beginning of the book, the main character feels responsible for the death of a loved one, and the mother of that loved one tells him that it only took about 17 seconds for this young child to die. It's fiction, right? So this is all fiction. We don't want anyone to think this happened in real life, because it's pretty tough.
I was so glad to hear that.
You were just crying all night, weren't you? Just torn up.
It's a really sad story, and the mother is just racked with all kinds of feelings, and she takes it out on this Rex Connor kid. I was so glad to find out that he's not real.
Yeah, and then Rex, this fictional character, feels so locked up by this thing that he says, you know what? Maybe she's right. Maybe 17 seconds of my own kind of selfishness caused this accident. So he decides to then do nice things for other people that might take 17 seconds. Now, obviously, opening a door doesn't take 17 seconds, and changing a tire takes a lot more than 17 seconds. It's just an easy way to remember how those small acts of kindness can help someone.
Yeah.
And so now you go and speak about this to school children?
I do. One of my favorite things to do, to travel around the country. In fact, I'm going to go say hello to a couple of schools today. I hope while I'm in Pittsburgh.
Great.
Good.
Yeah, I'm actually going to invite you to do something with me that I often have the kids do with me.
Okay.
One of the most important 17-second miracles that we can do every day, that viewers can do every day, is to use words with kindness. Use words the way they were meant to be used. I explain to kids around the country that words are a tool, like scissors are a tool, correct? Scissors have a very well-defined purpose. You can build, you can create, make a nice dress, right? Make a tie. In this case, would you take these scissors from me?
Sure.
What I do with the kids, what I'm going to do with you right now, is ask you to just cut my tie right off my neck. Just
It looks like a very perfectly nice tie.
it's a
and
great
it's black
tie.
and gold,
Let me
which
see
is
the
nice
back.
too.
just cut it right off. Just
You're not really.
Just anywhere you like.
Well,
Just go ahead. Come on. Don't
right,
be
boss.
shy.
all right.
Oh, this is happening. That just happened.
How'd I do?
See what you did? You took a pair of scissors
Yes.
that, when used properly, can build and create and do wonderful things, right? It has a purpose, that pair of scissors. What you did was use it improperly, almost as a weapon, right? And you cut my perfectly good tie in half. Now, here's the important
At your
thing.
behest.
Here's what kids need to know. When they use words as weapons, when they use words the wrong way to hurt people, to bring people down instead of to lift them up, they can apologize and they can try to make it better. And I could put some duct tape on this if I wanted to, but it's never really going to be the same.
No,
Is
not
it?
ever.
The damage is done. And when we use words the way they're not meant to be used, that's what we do to one another. And by the way, I think I'm rocking this. I'm going to wear this all the way back to Woodstock, Virginia. What do you say? My daughter's over there. What
I
do you think?
love
Not
that
bad, right?
visual,
Not
though.
bad?
You're right, because you
That's a
can
great
try
point.
and mend it, but it's not the same. Like
Right.
words, once they're out there, it's in your head, it doesn't completely go away.
A 17-second miracle is taking a few seconds to use words to lift people.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Like, you know, you look fantastic today. Have I told you
feel
how
great.
fantastic you look today?
Yep.
You, on the other hand, no, I'm just kidding.
You just cut my tie.
You know, I love
You
the
bum.
tie. My dad had a tie just like that. One of
Yeah.
my favorite ties. I love it. And you know what? You wear it well. And small things like that really do matter.
And that's it does matter. And by the same token, the flip side of that coin is that harsh words matter too. And there's never a better example in this book than when she says, when we're going back to the Rex Connor incident at the lake, where the mother says, "You killed my angel."
Yeah, and he remembers those words for the rest of his life.
Just burned into his brain.
Yeah.
What do you hear from people who read your book? I know Lori Walker Geiger, one of our good friends and KDKA employee, is a big fan of yours. She read the book. She's the one who told us about you.
She's awesome. I'm so grateful that she was able to connect us this morning. What I hear from people is that they appreciate a little subtle reminder in the form of a book, which is fiction, right? So we don't get too locked up in the details because it's just something that came out of my head. But they appreciate the reminder that stopping and looking over your shoulder when you walk in that building to see if there's someone behind you, letting that person who just has a couple of items in Walmart in front of you in line when you've got $800 worth of Slim Jims and Red Bull or whatever you've got.
Right.
Those little things add up over time. And if you look at the course of your life and all those small things that you do for people, those few seconds that you donate each and every day, what does that up to? Weeks, months, years of your life. And as I told you before he came on air, this is based largely on the life of my dad. So it's fiction, but it's inspired by my dad, who is very much like Rex Connor. He was someone who knew how to bless another life by donating just a few seconds.
And he would do it without even thinking about it and without having any idea that you were going to write a book about it someday.
Absolutely. And he's passed away, and I hope he's pleased with his legacy that we're trying to carry on.
Well, you mentioned the word grateful, and I think for the giver, there's so much of an impact in addition to the person who's receiving the gift.
It
Whether
changes
it be
the way you
jars.
view the world, right?
It really does, yeah. Well,
does.
Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Jason. Again, folks, the book called The 17-Second Miracle by best-selling author Jason Wright, also the author, as we mentioned, of the Christmas books and other books. And you can find out about all of them and read Jason's columns and his blog, or invite him to speak to your group or your child's school on his website. We've posted that link for you, of course, at kdka.com/PTL.